Well, RevMax is in. Trans pressure is running a lot lower. I mean, usually cruising around this speed at 51. My trans pressure was a lot higher. So we got it set at 0. Gotta drive it like that for the first 150, 200 miles. And then we'll be back to running. Now my mechanic did this for me. Shout out to Shane. He's a really great guy over here in Fort Pierce. But he did say that he noticed a little darker in the oil and some shavings in the pan. He said, you know, recommends doing the clutches and possibly torque converter. RevMax has a really good kit, so we'll see how she runs. Hopefully we should notice a big difference in how it shifts. We won't know for a couple 100 miles, but I am on the other side of the coast on the east side, so with this driving around that I'll be doing today and going back home, I should be put about 150 miles on it, so we should be able to lay into it hopefully tomorrow and see how she shifts and see how everything performs. But definitely happy. Got the transmission pan in. He said it took 16 quarts of oil, so a little bit more than he anticipated. Said usually the factory transmission only holds about 6 to 7 quarts of oil, and he was anticipating an extra 4 quarts, but he said his old truck held right around 22 quarts. So it's really weird how each transmission holds different quarts of oil, and but we'll see how she does. Should be running a lot cooler with that bigger pan. Now he said he had noticed trans temp had got up to about 170, 175, but I think in the bigger cities, on these busier roads, I should say, you're gonna notice a higher temperature. I didn't do the trans bypass cooler, if I'm saying that right. It just opens up the lines so it can run a little bit cooler and not restrict the flow. But so he said he definitely does recommend doing that. It'd probably help reducing some trans temp. Alright guys, we've got 68,211 miles. We've roughly done about 130 miles on another trip. Max trans pressure is right now at 206, and that's sitting at stock. That's what I've hit so far. Everything's still running pretty good. I did notice from 3rd to 4th, it does wind out a little bit more, and I noticed it's not shifting like it was before. Well, folks, we got 7 more miles to go, and surprisingly, it seems like it's shifting better than I noticed. Than I noticed before. And like I said earlier, there was one time when it went from 3rd to 4th, it kind of like didn't feel right, kind of like a hard shift. But I have seen some comments about people talking about once they do their valve body, it does shift a little hard in the beginning. So if you guys have noticed that when you did your RevMax, just comment below and let me know. So, but like I said before, I think, well, I know for sure, definitely need to check on those clutches and probably get them switched out. But we've got 6 miles left to go. So once we get that 6 miles, I'm gonna go ahead and start running. I'm gonna do the number 1 and then slowly get into 2, and just kind of take it easy on it still, as it's pretty much learning, and then learning the tunes on the transmission. All right, well, we hit 200 miles. Now my mechanic he said he drove the truck about 10 to 15 miles before I've got it. So just to be on the safe side and have my ducks in a row, we're going to go ahead and set it. And we're going to go into 1, which is stock. But we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead. Yeah, we're going to run it into 1 for now. And just kind of, I'm going to probably change it to 2 here in a little bit, but just see how see if anything changes on it. I'm not going to say it will, but you never know. I've never ran it in 1 because it said stock, so not sure why it says stock, but we're gonna go ahead and drive it like that for a little bit. I'm going to pick up some dry cleaning. So we are 10 miles in on just level 1. Definitely notice it shifts when you get on it. It shifts a little harder going into the gear, and I've heard things about that, but hopefully that gets a little bit smoother. But other than that, it seems like as so far. Now I didn't notice any slippage in stages 1 and 2. Well, I never ran 2 or never ran 1. I noticed some slippage after stage 2, so it'd be 3, 4, 5 that I noticed, but nothing really in 2. But I'm gonna bump it up here in a minute. Just trying to get a little bit more dialed in on that, a little bit more. I would say it's got to have a little bit of power going to it. Definitely you can feel the transmission shift on that tune, so just want to kind of work it in that way a little bit and then bump it up. So we're gonna go ahead and switch it over. We're gonna go to 2, which is tow, and I'm gonna give it some acceleration. I'm still hesitant on going full acceleration on this, just because I've only got a couple 100 miles on it, and still feel like it needs to learn the shift points. But some might say, oh, well, he's over exaggerating. But I did get on it a few minutes ago. It downshifted. Seemed like everything was smooth transition from there, but we'll find out later on. Yep, a little hard there. Nosedive, which is good. Man, this thing shifts. I mean, it feels like it's got way more power, and I'm only in stage 2 when I'm getting on it now. I would notice an increase in acceleration when I be on level 5, but it's just sitting in 2. I mean, you know, it definitely just gets up a lot easier than it did before. Which I have heard once you do the conversion that you do notice it definitely shifts better. I would say more so in the higher gears, like 4th, 5th, and 6th. But with the line pressure too, I mean, I guess that I'm assuming that changes a little bit scenarios with changing that over. So you could definitely feel that transmission was slipping before, but now it's when you give it gas, it just wants to go. Before it didn't. It would always lag a little bit, so super happy about that. So just so everybody can see, she's in. And we are going to change out this piece right here. That's your bypass. It's going to allow more flow to come in, and get that part installed here pretty soon. Well, we appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It helps the channel out. We're going to be jumping back in the truck, going down to softball practice. Keep driving this thing. Look to some more videos coming soon. You guys have a good one. God bless.